Quick note, I'll be at the Scappoose Adventure Festival in Scappoose, Oregon this Saturday and Sunday. My 13-year-old son will have a booth selling his original space paintings to raise money to buy himself a super fancy computer and save towards the cost of attending coding camp. So swing by to say hello or to check out his paintings. And hey, if you look hard enough, you might even spy a Cybertruck among the stars. Let's get into this. Zachary Kirkhorn's departure from Tesla has been announced, but is it big news, no news, or maybe even good news? I don't know, but Herbert from Brighter is joining us to find out. It's so good to have you here. Everybody, give it up for Herbert. I'm Brian. Welcome to My Tesla Weekend. Herbert, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this, Brian. So obviously it's a big news that happened yesterday. Zach Kirkhorn is out. We don't know if he was fired or if he quit, but all the folks that I've been interviewing and talking to think that this is a nothing burger. He's been with the company for 13 years. He's been the CFO for 4. It just seems like I think we looked it up, and the average tenure for a CFO for a Fortune 500 company is 5 to 6 years. And so, being a CFO for 4 years, but him being at the company for so long, he has made, at least some people are saying, $500 million in stock value. In fact, that stock will continue to go up regardless if he's there or not. And so, he just got recently married as well. So these are things that most people are saying this is not terribly out of the news. There is some indication that he's going to stay there, at least for the next 6 months or till the end of the year. So that's pretty good news. But again, it's how you want to interpret it, right? So if I share with you a little bit of the information. So this is what the 8K was released, right? And basically says that there was released. It was actually released on Monday, or they reported on Monday, but this was as of August 4th, which was a Friday. So the Tesla's appointed Vaibhav Taneja as the chief financial officer, who is currently the chief accounting officer. He's going to succeed Zachary Kirkhorn. Zachary is now stepping down as of August 4th, which is obviously done Friday, 13-year tenure. And, he's going to, it says here, will continue to serve Tesla through the end of the year to support a seamless transition. Doesn't say that he's going to continue working at Tesla, but he's going to serve Tesla to support. And I think that that's kind of right. I mean, that is the way it is. Once somebody decides to leave, you want them to support, but you don't want them to be, like you're going to be continue to be employed. That's weird. So some people who think that this is, nothing here, that means he's nothing really there. I think it means a big deal. So we'll talk about a little bit about who this person is, Vaibhav Taneja, and we'll explain that. But at the end of the day, he's been with the company for a long time. He's been also chief accounting officer ever since Zach was chief financial officer. So it's a fantastic succession plan in my mind. What was your thoughts, Brian?
Well, first of all, who more qualified than the chief accounting officer? He's already an executive. He's already in the books, in the numbers, knows what's going on. And when I hear you say that Zach will be kept on to support in a serving role, that makes sense. You need to know where there's a million little things that Zach has in his head where you need to reach out and say, hey, well, where's this? What's this? What am I doing here? And that's perfect. This would allow time for that transition. And I don't think it's a big deal. After how many dollars do you need before you say, this 90-hour-a-week thing is a little much. And this is a 90-hour-a-week kind of position for sure, I would say. And I would say the only critical member of the team who might not work a full 40 hours would be Franz. Because if you try and work a designer too many hours, you get lousy designs. They get uninspired pretty quickly. And I think he could effectively run his team without putting in that kind of time commitment.
Yeah. Oh, this is fine. So I think you've already said it's a nothing burger for you. It's a nothing burger for me. Most people I've talked to feel the same way. But I think what topic you and I should talk about that's right up your wheelhouse is how is this going to affect all of the big projects that are being invested in now. There's going to be the gigafactories, Mexico that's being built. There's going to be the bots. There's like $1 billion plus on Dojo. So I'm curious to see what your opinion is on there. But just to wrap it up so everybody's on the same page, this is Zach Kirkhorn. He released this news out on LinkedIn. So basically, he announced that Vaibhav Taneja is going to replace him. Just said the generic things. But this statement here, this morning, Tesla announced that I've stepped down from my role as Chief Financial Officer. When I first read that, I thought, this is Tesla doing the announcement. But actually, Alexander Mertz explained to me that this is just a legal statement. He just needs to say this because this is, factual of what happened. But this is Vaibhav Taneja. He's going to be the new CFO of Tesla, the master of coin. And if you look at his kind of background here, this is his stats here. It's pretty impressive. So look at that. He worked at Solar City. That's where he came from. So he's kind of like very close to the Tesla family, to Elon. He's been with Tesla for 6 years, came from Price Waterhouse. And so it's like perfect for him to move on up. He's been with the company. It's going to be a very smooth transition, right? There's not going to be an issue here with anybody worrying that this was an issue. If there was any concern with the financial auditing or something like that, they would have announced it immediately. So it just looks very much like a succession planning that's happening here. So very good guy to come in. And then, he's also, so I'm very comfortable with this happening. And if you remember what happened, this was a nice tweet from Sawyer, and he explained that this happened in 2019. So at that time, the current CFO at that time was Deepak Ahuja, who was CFO of Tesla. He stepped down, and they said, "Hey, there's going to be a new young guy. Zach Kirkhorn is going to replace him," and everybody went freaked out. The stock fell by 6%, and everybody's worried. Now it's like, Zach's the one stepping down, and people are concerned. So, yeah, that's our thought. So, what do you think, Brian? What's going to happen to these big investments? Are we now ready for the next stage of growth? Where's Tesla now compared to where it was several years ago?
Well, like you were saying, it's a plan of succession. There's always a plan of succession. Replacing the CFO with the chief accounting officer is logical. That makes sense. If you said, quick, you have 5 minutes to pick his successor, that's who you'd pick. It makes sense. And does this change anything for the expansion plans with Dojo or the expansion plans with factories or the expansion of existing factories? I don't see how it could. Their job is to execute on the vision that they've collectively decided on. And changing one executive with somebody newer, I don't see his role being to come in and shake things up. I think his role is to step in and be competent and capable. And that's what I think we're going to see. And like you showed with his resume, he's got the qualifications. He's not a bold, daring choice. He's the logical choice. And that's what I think a company of this size should be doing. We've got enough bold, daring ideas on the table already without setting the table on fire too. So I think all of it makes perfect sense. I had seen some skepticism raised by the usual people who are always skeptical, saying, well, the timing of this is very unusual. Normally you announce these things at an earnings call. So I looked up to see other CFOs and executives who had departed companies, and I didn't see a trend that pointed to that. Some were announced at earnings calls, some were not. And this doesn't, I think if you were going to flee the sinking ship, you'd flee right before the earnings are about to drop or the production numbers are about to miss or something like that. Yeah. And you'd also see him dumping stock, which he's not apparently doing.
Yeah.
And he still has the vision. He just doesn't need the money or the stress. If he's got a new family he's trying to raise, what a great opportunity. Nothing says... Yeah.
Yeah. There's another going, I think the most prevalent theory that's going on is that he achieved his goal. Okay, he's here as CFO, fantastic. He took Tesla from a company that was struggling or just kind of making its mark to now very strong financially, having completely out of debt. So Amy was saying that his goal that he's always stated was to get the company out of debt, which he did. Company's in very good, strong footing now. And then the theory is that he's being recruited. He can become the CEO of a very important large corporation. and he's thinking to himself, I just got married. I want to have time off for a year, and then I want to pursue my next big thing. And it's probably unlikely that he would have been selected CEO of Tesla. So he's basically hit his kind of height, and he's moving on. So I think that's the most likely thing, is that he is very well respected in the kind of the industry, and he's being pursued, and so he's going to have many options for him. He's already got, like I mentioned earlier, $400-500 million worth of Tesla stock. He's done very well for himself. He'll be just fine. So,
well, I had seen numbers as low as 50 million, but that is also infinity money for most people. And like you said, he's not going to, I can't see him being the type who's going to sit on the beach and sip pina coladas for the rest of his life. He's too young for that. He might take a year or two off, and like you said, land anywhere. Anywhere would be happy to have him, with very few exceptions of like family-run businesses. And so he'll get to pick the company that he wants to work for, who has something he's passionate about that will pay him commensurately for his skills and resume, and he'll do great. And just like with his name's escaping me, from Redwood Materials, what's his name?
JB Straubel.
JB, he'll always be part of the Tesla family.
Exactly. And then that's the other thing people are saying. Of course, it's very, very stressful to work for Elon Musk. The Tesla itself is just firing in all cylinders. This is not one company. It's like you're the CFO of, 8 companies, and they're all at different stages, and you're managing this behemoth, and it's only going to grow. He's been very stressed for 13 years.
Yeah. And the company the market cap has 20x'd since he came in as CFO. That's not a feat he can repeat at Tesla. But boy, if Tesla could 20x again, that'd be...
Oh, it's going to be achieved, Brian. What are you doing?
20x, you think? Another 20?
Yes, Brian.
I'll take it.
Absolutely.
It's
happening, man. Everything's happening.
Not financial advice. Herbert, I want to thank you for joining me. And in conclusion, the departure of Zach Kirkhorn, no news. It's not really news.
No news.
So thank you all for joining me for No News with Brian and Herbert. And you're on vacation coming up. I hope you get some much needed rest yourself. Come back in less than 2 years, and I will see all of you very, very soon. In the comments, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Let us know. Help us out. It's all we got to go on. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.